go ahead and try this question. This video is titled Never Miss This Error, because honestly, this error type occurs so often and is so rule-based that missing it is really giving away easy points. So this is an error, like I said, it comes up maybe 3 or 4 times per test, and there is a rule that underlies it. It's not like an idiom where sometimes it's just if you know the expression or you don't, there's no real rule that can help you. In this, there's a rule, and you have to be aware that this comes up a lot, and I'll give you a little hint or a little tip about how you can more easily identify this error, or at least realize that there might be the error in the question, and then give yourself a chance to look deeper to see if you can find if it actually is an error in that case. Well, so let's look at this one. The result of the investigation belongs less to the realm of knowledge than to that of speculation. The writer has given us more fancy than fact. There are a few choices here that are distractors. I would say B is a distractor because it looks so weird. Right, belongs less to the realm of knowledge than to that of speculation. Sounds a bit weird, looks weird, but it's actually okay. And the reason why B is okay is we have a comparison, right? It belongs less to the realm of knowledge than to that of speculation. That of is standing in for the realm of. So the then to has got to work with the less than because it's a less than word pair. Right? Something is less something than something. And the to has got to be there because it's got to be parallel. Less to, than to. Now the that has got to stand in for the realm of, or the realm, because if you didn't have that, if you just said less to the realm of knowledge than to speculation, you'd have a comparison error. So when you take apart B, it actually works okay, even though it sounds weird and looks weird. So it's definitely a trap for that reason. But B is fine for that reason. C, you might look at C and say, oh, is this some sort of tense error? Or is the form of it wrong? And no, it's fine. The tense is fine. Present tense, present perfect. And yeah, no problem. The writer has given us more fancy than fact. We see earlier in the sentence we had a present tense verb, so having present tense here seems fine. Nothing wrong with C. You might look at D and say, oh, should it be like fancier or more fancy? That's a weird phrase. Well, here fancy is a noun, so more fancy actually works. If you were using fancy as an adjective, yes, it'd be fancier, but fancy is a noun here, just like fact is a noun, right? More fancy than fact. So we've got another actual word pair comparison here, more than, and we have nouns after each part of the word pair, so it's parallel, and more fancy than fact is fine. So we're left with A versus E. So what's the answer? The answer is A, and this is the error that you really can't miss. When you look at a choice like A, what you should immediately notice is that it contains a verb. And there's 2 things you want to look for when there's a verb. 1 is tense, we already talked about that. 2 is subject-verb agreement. This is the error that appears 3, 4, 5 times per test. And it's based on the simple rule that when you have a singular noun or a singular subject that has a verb, it's got to match. That verb has got to be singular. Or if you have a plural noun, that verb has got to be plural. I'll leave a link in the description from the SAT Grammar Bootcamp that goes into these rules into a bit more detail. But if you look at this one, what do we have here? What's the subject? The subject of the sentence is the results. It is not the investigation. This is the trap many people fall into. Investigation is part of what's called a participial phrase, this of the investigation. And for the purposes of finding your subject and your verb, it's irrelevant. What is it that belongs less to the realm of knowledge? It's not the investigation, it's the results. The results belong less to the realm of knowledge. This is a plural noun, so we need to have a plural verb, and you make a verb plural by getting rid of the S. When you have the S, belongs, that goes with a singular noun. So if it were the case that investigation were the noun, were the subject, then belongs would work. But because it's not the subject, results is the subject, we need to have a plural verb, so it should be belong. So the reason why you should never miss this is, number 1, when you're looking at your choices and an error ID in particular, and you see a verb, you should immediately think, every time you see a verb, is this a subject-verb agreement error? Along with, is this a tense error? But is it a subject-verb agreement error? Immediately, you should think that. Once you think that, then check it. Find the subject, see if the subject is singular or plural, and then make sure the verb is singular or plural additionally. And what you can do is, if you're not quite sure whether it should be singular or plural, just put them next to each other in your head, and it should be clearer, right? The results belongs, that's weird. It's the results belong. So as I said, you should never miss this error. It's a good 3 or 4 or 5 points per test. There are some trickier types that you might see, particularly towards the end of the error IDs, the hard questions, and perhaps in later videos we will talk about them. I do talk about those more tricky types in my other video series, like the Grammar Tactics series, for example, and I'll leave actually links to that in the description as well. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions on this.
To learn more about Reason Prep's SAT, SAT subject test, and ACT video courses, go to reasonprep.com/enroll, and you can find the link in the description below the video.